You think hunting wild boars is just about pulling the trigger? Think again. This is a war between man and the wild, where a single moment of hesitation could end in disaster. Welcome to some of the most intense ambushes ever caught on camera, where seasoned hunters faced off against the most dangerous boars across swamps, deep forests, and treacherous mudlands. Brace yourself, because what you're about to witness will leave you breathless. The hunter stood still, like a part of the landscape, patient, silent, tracking every subtle movement in the brush. Then suddenly, a dark figure flashed by. Bang! A single shot rang out, sharp and deliberate. The wild boar dropped instantly, rolling down the slope without a sound. Another one, startled, bolted through the trees, but it didn't get far. One cold, calculated shot ended the chase in mere seconds. Even under harsh weather and limited visibility, the hunter remained calm and dropped his target from a distance like a true marksman. Wounded but not down, the wild boar roared back to life, charging straight at the hunter in a frenzy of rage. Thankfully, the hounds were already in position. They swarmed in from every angle, cornering the beast with no way out. The moment was now, and the shot was taken. Boom! A flawless finishing blow, bringing an end to the most dangerous charge of the day. Not every wild boar goes down easy. This one was massive and incredibly alert. It weaved through dense thickets, never fully revealing itself, until the boar stepped right into the kill zone. A cold, precise shot, like a verdict handed down by nature itself. The boar dropped on the spot, a victory only earned by those with nerves of steel. Then came the real test, rapid reaction. 2 more boars burst out of the brush. Crack, crack, 2 swift pulls of the trigger. 2 bodies hit the mud. No hesitasce. No merci.
Üçüncüydü.
The wild boar suddenly veered off course, and it almost cost the hunter his life. It charged straight ahead like a living bull. Too close. No time to retreat. In a split second, the hunter spun 180 degrees and fired. Bang! The bullet tore through the mud, striking the beast square in the chest. A heart-pounding moment. 1 second slower, and the outcome could have been deadly. It's moments like these that prove why, in the United States, hunters are required to carry valid hunting insurance. It's not just a legal formality, it's a financial safety net for unexpected accidents. Stray bullets, animal counterattacks, or unintended damage. With proper coverage, you're not just hunting, you're hunting responsibly. In the towering reeds, no one moves alone. The wild boars travel in packs, and so do the hunters. A flawless operation unfolds before the lens. One holds the line, another flanks the edge, and the hounds drive the herd straight into the trap. Boom, boom. Gunshots ring out like the drums of war. The ambush is total. One by one, the boars fall. There's no escape, no second chances. This isn't just skill, it's battlefield level teamwork. Terrain, thick grass, dense brush. On the surface, it looked like the boars had the upper hand. But what they didn't know was that the hunters had already set the trap. Not with wire, but with strategy. The moment the boar stepped out, the shooters shifted positions and tightened the net. A series of clean, rapid shots followed, and the target was taken down swiftly. This wasn't luck. It was a victory earned through careful planning and military-level precision. Close range, heart pounding, no room for error. The boar burst out of the brush, fast and furious, like an ambush in the wild. The hunter stepped back, raised his rifle, and in that split-second, life-or-death moment, a single bullet straight to the heart. No scream, no struggle. The beast dropped instantly. It happened so fast. Most viewers had to rewind just to believe what they saw. No shot in this hunt hit harder than this one. The camera caught it all. The boar stepped right into the crosshairs. And bang! The bullet struck dead center, right between the eyes, not a millimeter off. The beast collapsed instantly, as if hypnotized by pure precision. A headshot so clean, it gave chills to every hunter watching, rookie or veteran alike.
Bekle yavaş. Bu tarafa gel, bu tarafa gel, bu tarafa gel. Düşmek üzere. Gitti.
What a great hunt. Thank you, everyone. Today's hog, gangsta, and trick.
20 wild hogs, one deadly swamp, and only one chance to end it all. The chase begins right here. Wild hogs are a farmer's worst nightmare in America. They don't just destroy crops, they tear up entire ecosystems. From cornfields to irrigation systems, dirt roads to livestock pens, nothing is safe. The damage has multiplied over the past 2 decades. Against this growing threat, working alone is no longer enough. Farmers know the land but lack the firepower. Hunters have the skills but need intel. Only when they join forces does the tide begin to turn. We, an experienced team of hunters, devised our plan using intel from local farmers. 3 hotspots had been hit the hardest: the cornfields, a patch of open land, and the swamp. We began our reconnaissance. Deep hoof prints pressed into the soil, trampled corn rows, and the pungent stench of mud and dung told us one thing: this was a big herd. At the break of dawn, we surrounded the area where signs of wild hog activity were strongest. The tension was razor-sharp, like a string pulled to its limit. Suddenly, a massive boar, over 200 kilograms, charged out from the corn rows, leading the herd. Its tusks were long and sharp, its bristled coat standing on end. Then the signal came, boom! A burst of gunfire shattered the silence. Some hogs dropped instantly. The rest scattered in chaos, splitting in every direction. We couldn't let them escape. Our team split into smaller units and gave chase. The terrain was rough, but the hogs ran with relentless stamina. I raised my scope. Through the lens, thick mud caked in their bristles, wild eyes, tusks sharp as blades. One giant hog came into my sight. I squeezed the trigger. One shot, right in the weak spot. It let out a guttural roar before collapsing like a fallen tree in the forest. The chase wasn't over yet. One hog was cornered beneath a tree. But it didn't run, it charged like a warrior ready for battle. Its roar shook the ground, hooves tearing into the dirt. It was ready to fight to the death. Our team closed in, flanking from both sides. After more than 10 minutes of fierce struggle, the beast finally went down. The alpha hog had vanished into the swamp, a land of sinking mud, thick reeds, and the stench of death hanging heavy over the water. We powered through the muck on roaring airboats, weaving between tangled brush. Suddenly, it burst from a thicket, a monster of muscle and mud, tusks gleaming like razors. It didn't flee. It came straight at us. I raised my rifle. The first shot grazed its ear, only made it angrier. It roared, charging closer. The second hit its shoulder, blood poured down its thick coat, but it didn't slow. Only the third shot, dead center between the eyes, brought it down. It crashed like a falling tree, the water rippling as its massive body sank into the swamp. The remaining hogs scattered, but they didn't get far. We finished the job. We stood in silence, staring at the fallen beast. It wasn't pride we felt, it was purpose. For the land, for the harvest, for the safety of everyone who calls this place home. Sometimes, being a hunter isn't about skill. It's about duty. In the United States, many states like Texas, Florida, and Georgia legally allow licensed hunters and landowners to eliminate feral hogs year-round, with no limit. It's not just permitted, it's encouraged. This is a fight to protect American agriculture and ecosystems. Hog hunting here isn't just sport, it's the front line of rural defense. The swamp, once a fortress of wild hogs, now lies quiet. Its king has fallen. After 3 fateful shots. We recovered 20 hog carcasses, the largest weighed in at over 250 kilograms. The fields were protected, the crops were saved, and the community could finally breathe in peace. But the mission isn't over, we knew that deep down. The wild hog threat is far from gone. And we, the hunters, side by side with the farmers, will keep fighting. This battle is just a small part of the larger fight to protect America's farmland from the disaster known as feral hogs. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Hit like, share, subscribe to join us in the next wild hunt.
Tirão de balote, menino.
Прохорав 4, прохорав, соборов.
Sanglier à droite! Sanglier à droite!
Yunus Albe. Yunus Albe. En ortada.
الله يعطيك الصحة. شوف فيها أنا. برافو عليك.
Bekle. Atma.
Abenojar, once a peaceful countryside in Castilla-La Mancha, is now under siege. Over 1,200 cases of destruction each year. Hundreds of thousands of euros in damage. all caused by one growing threat: wild boars. They don't just destroy crops, they threaten the very survival of family farms passed down for generations. And for us, the people of this land, standing by was never an option. This is a mission to reclaim what's rightfully ours. The sun hadn't fully risen over the old forest, but we were already locked and loaded. Weapons, GPS, dried food, light, efficient, and fueled by purpose. My scope swept across the tree-lean, fresh track. The boars had passed through just hours earlier. Only 30 minutes in, a familiar snorting sound broke the silence. A hefty male, around 90 kilos, emerged at the edge of the ridge. No hesitation. I chambered around, squeezed the trigger, one clean shot. The target dropped instantly. A strong start, and one that reminded us exactly why this hunt had to happen. Pushing deeper into the mountainside, I broke off from the main group. Suddenly, boom! A wild boar burst out of the brush, no more than 10 meters away. I reacted on instinct. One shot, and it dropped. Moments later, gunfire erupted all around us. The rest of the team had encountered the main herd. Boars screamed and scattered, but every move had already been anticipated. In just a few tense minutes, so many were taken down, we lost count. The air was electric, everyone knew. This wasn't just a hunt anymore. It was a battle to defend the land we call home.
Birini yuvarladı. Üçüncüydü.
By midday, the heat was brutal and the fatigue was setting in. We paused under the shade of a tree until a strange sound caught our attention. A young boar, maybe 40 kilos, was trying to slip through the farm's protective fence. I raised my rifle, took aim, and ended it cleanly. Small, yes, but a clear threat in the making. If we don't act early, the damage will return year after year.
Mírale, mírale. Muerto, muerto, muerto.
Ahora lo enganchó.
Bien, bien, bien. Qué tensión, macho. Madre mía. Muerto.
We regrouped at the top of the hill, the perfect vantage point to scan the entire area. We split into 3 teams, circling in from different angles.
Muerto.
Right on cue, the herd appeared. I fired twice, one boar dropped immediately, the other stumbled, panicked, and bolted straight toward my teammates, only to be taken down seconds later. The whole scene felt like a military operation. No room for mistakes, every team member moved with precision, speed, and coordination, as if we had rehearsed this 100 times before. Trekking alone through the sparse hills, I spotted a massive lone boar. It was alert, startled by the snap of a branch, and took off running. I fired, but the first shot missed, grazing past. For an inexperienced hunter, that mistake could have had serious consequences. That's why in the United States, hunts like these are often covered by mandatory hunting insurance. Every mishap, from accidental discharge to unexpected injuries, is handled under strict legal frameworks, ensuring safety for hunters, communities, and the environment. I took a deep breath, steadied my aim, and fired again. Bullseye. The beast collapsed in the valley below, easily over 100 kilos. Late afternoon, we returned to the morning ambush site for one final sweep. Suddenly, a wild boar burst from the brush down in the valley. It ran like it was fleeing a nightmare. No time to think. I raised my rifle and fired purely on instinct. Bang! A clean, perfect shot. Likely the last survivor of the herd, and I knew that shot marked the end of their rampage here. On the way back, I paused for a short rest beneath a tree. But then, a low growl rumbled behind me. I turned and nearly froze. A massive boar, bigger than the herd's alpha, was silently closing in. No hesitation. I spun around and fired, just in time. Had I been 2 seconds slower, this day might have ended with a very different story.
Era guarda, era guarda. Otro atrás.
We left the forest just as the sun began to set. The truck was loaded with game, not a massive haul, but each animal marked a step toward protecting this land from future destruction. For those who've never lived in rural areas ravaged by wild boars, it's hard to understand just how vital it is to reclaim that sense of safety. In the United States, hunters like us must strictly follow laws on hunting seasons, designated areas, and approved weapon type. Additionally, carrying valid hunting insurance is mandatory in many states, ensuring safety for both participants and the community. Hunting isn't just about skill, it's also a legal and moral responsibility with every single shot. Which moment hit you the hardest? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to follow more real, intense, and necessary hunts like this one. See you on the next mission.
Lo ha tragado, ¿no?
Arka en arka.
Tamam. Düştü. İlk attın düştü müydü? Hangisi?
Arkadan ikinci.
Farming in America has never been easy, but today it's become a full-blown battle. It's no longer just about droughts or storms. A new enemy, relentless and dangerous, is creeping through every field, every fence line, the invasive wild hog. They're no longer hiding in the deep woods. Now they storm into pastures, tear up the land, destroy crops, and worst of all, they're boldly marching into neighborhoods in broad daylight, as if they own the place. Faced with this threat, American farmers have no choice. They must rise, not just to protect their harvest, but to defend the future of agriculture itself. The survival of farming in this country now depends on our ability to adapt and fight back against one of the most destructive invasive species in modern America. Wild hogs roaming through American neighborhoods is no longer a rare sight. They strut down the streets, rip up gardens, smash fences, and more than once have sent residents running in panic. The headlines keep coming. Wild hog stampede sends town into chaos. Billions lost in agriculture as feral hogs wreak havoc. But the big question remains. How did a species once confined to deep forests get this close to human homes? According to the FAO, wild hog populations are growing out of control, rising by 15 to 20% annually across parts of North America, Europe, and Asia. In the US alone, there are now over 6 million wild hogs, spreading across more than 35 states, a number that should raise serious concern. The situation keeps getting worse. As natural habitats shrink and food sources dry up, these animals have no choice. They move down into farmlands, into residential areas, not because they want to, but because they have to survive. But that very instinct to survive has turned wild hogs into a living nightmare. Not just for farmers, but for the entire economy, society, and natural ecosystem. You might think, how much damage can a few pigs really do? And you're right, a few pigs aren't scary. But millions of them? That's a full-blown catastrophe. In the US, wild hogs cause over $1.6 billion in damage every year. And most of that isn't from brute force, it's from raised crops, torn up soil, and thousands of farmers forced to spend on fencing, sensors, and traps, just to hold on to their land. They're not just losing harvest, they're losing peace of mind. They're losing their very ability to survive. But the danger doesn't stop at the farmlands. When wild hogs start boldly entering residential areas, everything changes. They're not just wandering through open fields anymore. They're crossing roads, charging through traffic, and causing accidents. In Hong Kong, there have been over 1,600 traffic incidents involving wild hogs. Sounds like a lot? Try France, with over 30,000 cases every year. And it's not just about a dented bumper. It's about injuries, lives lost, and a clear warning. This species no longer fears the line between forest and city. As wild hogs grow more destructive, public concern continues to rise. It's no longer just about lost crops, it's about the creeping risks quietly invading everyday life. In response, a variety of preventive measures have been put in place, but not all of them have worked as well as hoped. One of the most basic and time-tested methods is installing wire mesh fences. They're relatively cheap, easy to set up, and still widely used to keep out medium and small-sized hogs from farms and residential areas. But when it comes to full-grown adults, especially in areas where wild hogs regularly top 220 pounds, a few strands of wire mean nothing. Their razor-sharp tusks and crushing bite force can tear through metal like paper. And that's exactly what this surveillance footage shows. Just watching it is enough to send chills down your spine. A step up from wire mesh fences is the electric fence, designed to deliver a mild shock that startles wild hogs and deters them from entering protected areas. But don't underestimate this animal. Wild hogs are smart. If the fence isn't reinforced properly at the base, they'll simply dig underneath and slip through with ease. On top of that, maintaining and operating both types of fencing requires serious time, effort, and cost, especially across large properties or areas under frequent attack. That's why fencing alone isn't enough. It's just one link in a much larger system of control. To truly respond to the growing presence of a creature that once lived deep in the forest, we need a multi-layered approach, flexible, proactive, and effective. In addition to fencing, many local communities also use corral traps to capture wild hogs. These traps are essentially enclosed systems, with bait placed inside to lure the hogs in. Once they enter, escape is nearly impossible. The key advantage of corral traps is that they don't cause serious injury, they're simple to operate, and can be deployed in a variety of terrains. However, regular monitoring is essential. Without frequent checks, traps can accidentally catch non-target animals or become a nuisance to nearby residents. Today, many farmers and local authorities are combining fencing and corral traps as a two-pronged strategy to control hog populations, protect crops, and keep residential areas safe.
I'm also gonna put this camper magnet out. What I call it, that last meal. It's got some roasted soybeans and stuff. Peanuts. Extra. Yeah. Back on that song, huh? I figured with the mud it wouldn't come up as good, but it's coming on up. I don't know if it's...
Wild hog hunting is another strategy widely adopted by communities across the country to minimize damage. In some rural areas, it has even become a form of community engagement, with neighbors teaming up and organizing scheduled group hunts on a regular basis. On private lands, the process is more tightly regulated, not just to reduce hog numbers, but also to protect surrounding wildlife and ecosystems. Of course, all hunting must follow strict guidelines, from approved hunting seasons to designated zones and allowable quotas, to prevent overhunting and ecological disruption. Alongside these efforts, many U.S. states have introduced agricultural insurance programs that help cover the cost of recovery after wild hog damage, from destroyed crops to damaged farm infrastructure. These policies are especially critical for small family farms, where even a single season of loss can be financially devastating. To make wild hog control truly effective, collaboration is key between landowners, hunters, and local authorities. Only with a coordinated effort can we safeguard our crops and preserve the balance of nature. Wild hogs are no longer just a forest problem. When they storm into farmlands and neighborhoods, causing relentless destruction, adapting is no longer optional. It's something American farmers must do to survive and continue working the land they call home. That's it for today's video. What's your take on the wild hog invasion? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss another real-life story or practical tip. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.